Hi, I'm Sarah Karp, and I'm here to introduce María Zamudio. I met Maria when she was 25 years old. We both worked for the Chicago Reporter, the venerable investigative magazine on race and poverty issues. Even back then, I remember Maria as a young woman who seemed older than her age. She attacked her work with intensity and passion. She came to cover immigration issues, and as I learned about her, I came to understand that she saw herself in the stories of those who she covered. She understands what it's like to be in a family that had to figure out how to make it in Chicago, learn English, find jobs, make ends meet. She understands the hope and the fear, and when she writes about immigration, she makes sure that both of those things are represented. Maria went from the Chicago Reporter to work in Memphis, Tennessee at the Commercial Republic, and then for American Public Media. In 2015, Zamudio and a team of reporters from NPR's Latino USA received a Peabody National Award for their coverage of Central American immigrants, one of the numerous awards and honors that she's had. The most wonderful thing is that now Maria and I get to work together again as reporters for WBEZ, Chicago's NPR news station. She has done some of the most impactful work that has come out of WBEZ in recent years. During the early days of the pandemic, she was one of the first reporters to write about the fact that Black and Latinos people were dying at much higher rates than white or Asian people. She was then a part of a team that called the families of those who died to tell their stories. It was grueling, emotionally trying work during a very stressful time. And this is the thing about Maria. It took a toll on her. She's not the type of reporter that can see herself as an outsider. She isn't telling someone else's story. She's telling the stories that belong to her community, that belong to her. And while she can tell the tragedies, she has done some great stories that shine a light on the everyday ways that people live and cope. One of my favorites was about how during the pandemic, plant shops in Latino communities were booming with business, and that this love of plants harkened back to indigenous cultures in Mexico and Latin America. Another great story was about the dreadhead cowboy riding around during the pandemic, becoming a mini celebrity. But most recently, she did an investigative piece that found Chicagoans owe more than $421 million in water debt, and the debt is 10 times higher in the Black community than in white ones. Maria was able to see that this was about more than water debt. It was about a tax that undermines the ability of families to hold on to intergenerational wealth. Maria brought the same intensity and passion to that story as I saw her bring so many years ago when she was a reporter at The Reporter. She holds herself to a high standard, and she holds everyone else that she works with and for to a high standard also. One of the things I most admire about her is that she doesn't try to appease the bosses if it gets in the way of telling a story right. She's committed to standing up for the underdog, no matter what, and I think it's because she too was an underdog. I asked a mutual friend of ours, Angela Caputo, what should I say about Maria? And she said something that's totally 100% right. Maria is just a badass reporter, and it's my honor to introduce her.
I love being a journalist. I often joke with my mom that I'm a professional chismosa, that I get paid to find out what's going on. I got an email a few years ago from an Inglewood homeowner, Sylvia Taylor, who told me she had a $20,000 water bill for a property that was vacant and had no water service. She also told me that the city refused to stop billing her. She was asking me for help. She ended the email by saying, "I feel like a pawn that's been violated and checkmated." I was intrigued. And so Sylvia Taylor's story became the backbone for my water debt investigation. And over the months, I interviewed dozens of Chicagoans who struggle to pay for their water bills. And that's when I realized that I needed to make my reporting more accessible. And so we created a new distribution model. Not only did we air the investigation on 91.5 FM, and we published with our partners over at the Sun-Times, but we also sent out postcards to residents who were enrolled in a payment plan. We also created a workshop to bring the information directly to the people who need it. And we're in the process of planning a bilingual workshop for the summer. This kind of community-based journalism is part of the Studs Terkel legacy. Receiving the Studs Terkel Award reaffirms my calling. My job is to uplift community voices rather than to become the voice for the voiceless, because we know that those communities have voices. Ms. Taylor is an incredibly smart woman who documented her interactions with the city of Chicago throughout the years. Once I FOIA'd the information and the records were there, the city had no option but to admit their mistake and correct the situation. I'm grateful for this award. It means so much to me because I was nominated by Chicago journalists I admire deeply. And while I didn't meet Studs Terkel in person, I feel his spirit in my work. I want to thank my WBEZ family, including my amazing editor, Alden Lowry, who is also a Studs Terkel winner. I'm incredibly grateful for all of your support. I wouldn't be able to do this work without you all. Thank you for reminding me that my labor is not invisible. And to my friends and mentors, thank you for holding space for me to fall apart and be vulnerable in an industry that does not allow that for women like me. Thank you for helping me strategize. Thank you for helping me figure out a way to get this work done. Without your support, I wouldn't be able to do this work. Thank you so much for this recognition.